All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, we're holding one of Dr. Mac's annual transportation options workshops. We're excited to have you join us as we discuss different ways to overcome mobility barriers. And as usual, Steph will begin by reminding us of our mission and addressing some Zoom housekeeping items.
Yeah, thanks, Colleen. So for those of you who are new to our meetings, welcome. We always like to share our mission at the beginning of each meeting to just kind of remind ourselves about the work that we do and how we look at things. So Dr. Mac's mission is to overcome mobility barriers through education, collaboration, advocacy to enhance the quality of life. So we just really aim to inform and empower people to overcome mobility barriers and help make transportation equitable, accessible, and affordable for all. So if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and type your name and organization into the chat. And if you've been here before, you already know the deal, but we kindly ask everyone just stay muted unless you're speaking, but please feel free to use the chat to ask questions, share comments. You can also use the raise your hand function to be called on. So now that we've got that covered, we're going to go ahead and move on to some staff introductions and some updates from the Dr. Mac team. I'll go ahead and get us started with that. And we are unfortunately missing Malia and Maria today, so it'll be a smaller team than usual. But yeah, I'm Stephanie. I'm the program manager here at Dr. Mac, and I am also running the Zoom slides, which I don't normally do. So apologies for any delays there. But yeah, we are still hosting our travel trainings and our tech trainings that I'll talk a bit about later in the presentation. But just kind of continuing to promote those, our transit to table program, and all the good stuff we got going on this year. So yeah, I will talk more about that later. Arthur?
Hello, I'm Arthur. I'm the Outreach and Development Coordinator. One of the biggest things I just want to talk about is I make the newsletter. I hope you enjoy it if you get it. If you ever feel like there's something happening in your community that you think would be great for the wonderful members who get or the wonderful people who get our newsletter, whether it be about transportation or adjacent, please send it my way. My email's up on the screen right now. But we'd love to share it with the community. As well, we are also looking to get out in the community ourselves in November and December. So if you have an event that you think our presence would be really helpful for, would be really helpful to get out, our resources to. Also, please let me know. Just send an email my way, and we'll see if we can make that. So next is Marissa.
Hi guys, I'm Dr. Mac's senior intern, and I am going to be staying with them until May, trying to soak up all the knowledge that everybody in this team has to share with me, and I'm going to hopefully be a sponge until graduation. And so I've been really excited to take on all the knowledge that everybody has to share with me, and as well as trying to start a few of my own projects coming here soon. So
Thanks, Marissa. And I'm Latoya Pranti. For those who don't know me, I'm the development manager here. And as Marissa said, she's an intern, and I kind of oversee that area of interns and volunteers and things like that. So if you are interested in giving some time to an organization and see that our mission kind of fits something that you're interested in, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. Our email is on the screen right now, but I'll also put it in the chat after I'm done talking. And yep, that's me. And now, again, it's me. I would like to share some key takeaways from the recent Dr. Mac walk audit. We found that the sidewalks and the crossings along 17th Avenue corridor, specifically between Quebec and Monaco, are generally in poor condition, which really is limiting their accessibility. The crosswalks are often absent, faded, or unclear, creating significant barriers, especially for wheelchair users and vision impaired pedestrians. In fact, many pedestrians reported feeling that they had to feel rushed getting across the street safely. So to address these issues, we have identified several recommendations. That's including improving sidewalk infrastructure, increasing crossing safely, adjusting signal timing, making accessibility enhancements, implementing traffic calming measures, and fostering community engagement to ensure that these improvements reflect resident needs. For our second walk audit, we brought together 20 participant representatives from 5 different organizations. This is including community members, elected officials, and advocacy groups. For the community members, we have Doug and Lindsay, they're homeowners there, as well as another homeowner that was present. We had elected officials, Councilwoman Chantel Lewis and her team. We also had Tessa from Councilman Darnell Watson's office, and then some community groups who also helped us, which were Montbello Walks, that was led by Pam Jenner, Mobility, and Positively Paralyzed. We also had our 5 staff members and 1 volunteer that has been volunteering with us for a few years now. So a huge thank you to all of those participants for this. We really could not have done it without their support. I did want to share some stats really quickly. We also analyzed the crash data provided by the Denver Police Department covering from January 2020 to August 2025. And there was a total of 83 crashes that were reported along the 17th Avenue. And within those, there was 18 hit and runs, 2 DUIs, 1 resulting in serious injuries, and 62 just general traffic crashes. So unscoringly, the safety risk in this corridor is serious. Also, from our walk audit surveys, we were really excited for our second walk audit to have 58 respondents. The majority were under 50 years old, and most of them walk daily or several times a week. 56 participants reported not using mobility aids. However, there was 2 that used canes or walkers. The average sidewalk conditions they rated at was 2.1 out of 5, and crossing signals timing average at 2.4. So both were below fair. We did get 31 respondent notes that crosswalks were absent in key areas, and many said that they only had enough time to cross if they hurried. So when it comes to accessibility, there was 33 respondents that said in the area that was for in wheelchair only accessible, it was difficulty, and then 22 said not at all accessible. So really also another piece was the audible signals and tactical pavings are also severely lacking. So it's important to really note that the sidewalk approvals from the 17th Avenue had and was made back in 2018. And the construction was supposed to take place in 2022. However, the funding ran out, or they didn't have funding to provide for this project. So pretty much providing this data is going to hopefully push that further and faster to make this kind of go to the top of the priority of the list. And what we're going to continue to do is really try to advocate for this issue moving forward. And that's kind of where we're at. But here's some visual photos from our walk audit with some groups, and really enjoyed that. So thanks so much. All right. During today's transportation option workshop, we have several guests sharing updates on mobility services and efforts across the region. Our first guest is going to be Laura Ewell, Regional Manager for Sunshine Rides. So Laura, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So Sunshine Rides has been in business for over 34 years. It started in Grand Junction, moved to through the west side of the state, and now is expanded on the east. So we cover the entire state for transportation, for Medicaid, other healthcare providers, corporations, and so forth. We've really expanded because of the need. In the Denver metro area alone, we have 20 wheelchair accessible vehicles and are growing that fleet as well. We know the need for wheelchairs in the Denver metro area is huge. There's just not enough providers that have them due to the expense. The owner of Sunshine Rides bought all new vehicles, the new vans all of our drivers are professionally trained and through all of the credentialing for those wheelchair accessible vehicles as well. We have satellite offices all through the state, including Denver Metro, Johnstown, Pueblo, Springs, Alamosa, and then along the west side of the state as well. So we really emphasize professional drivers. All our drivers are employees, they're not contractors. So that assures that more people get picked up because they're not being paid per, whatever the cost of the trip is. So short distance, long distance, it doesn't matter. Our drivers will do it. They're all uniformed, and every single one of them, whether they do Medicaid, is credentialed in Medicaid. So we just really set them to a high standard of, everything that they do. Just to give you an example, we had a client that got picked up in the Denver metro area on Medicaid, an elderly lady that used a walker going to Cortez, long trip, in the late afternoon. So they got there in the evening, and when they got to her home, she had been evicted while she was in the hospital in the Denver area. Couldn't leave her stranded, couldn't get anything, didn't want to, couldn't get a hold of anybody that late at night. So we made sure that she got put up in a hotel until we could get a hold of her family in the next morning, and took care of that, paid for the hotel. Our driver stayed with her to make sure that she got everything she needed, that she was fed. And then the next morning, we were able to get a hold of her brother and transport her to Pueblo so that she could get a home. But that's the kind of service we really pride ourselves on, is that kind of, care and just meeting every need that they have. I have 20 years experience in transportation in the Denver metro area, and I know some providers would have just left them stranded. Unfortunately, I've seen that. So that's pretty much what we base everything on. And we're really excited because we can cover short distance, long distance, and the entire state, whatever their needs are. And having drivers in all those locations just makes it, nobody has to wait for a ride. Being out there, I've heard people having to plan trips out in weeks, even, that they're waiting for a return trip for 4 or 5 hours. We always have a driver in the area. When we hire our drivers, they're based out of those cities, even the rural areas. We have drivers in those locations, so they don't have to wait for somebody to come from a long distance area. So, any questions?
Not a question, but a comment. That's wonderful. We should really be proud of the service you provide. Thank you.
you. Thank you. Yeah, we really pride ourselves on just supporting the community in any way that their need is. And I truly enjoy my job because I like to see all that we are helping. And we are also, for those that don't qualify for Medicaid, maybe just elderly or just people that have the need for transportation and have the means to pay, but maybe not, a whole lot, we are going to be offering discount rides for those as well, just to help them get to where they need to get to.
I have a quick question, just relaying. Jamie asked in the chat if I could send this slide to the participants of the meeting. Is that okay with you, Laura?
Yes, that is.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
I actually had a quick question. How do you get enough drivers for rural areas? I know a lot of transportation providers have that problem. What do you do something particular to maintain consistent services in more rural areas or more dispersed populations?
I think what helps is that our drivers are employees, so they're going to get paid no matter what. They're not getting paid per trip. And a lot of other transportation providers, they're contractors, so they only get paid if they take trips, if they take a client. And that makes it more difficult. They can't live like that because they don't have the funds. We pay them no matter what. And then they also get that full benefit. We have an excellent benefit package for our drivers, including 401k, profit sharing, medical, dental, vision, PTO, sick days, everything. And I think that just really entices them. I actually, when we started our expansion and we started sending, getting job recs out to the rural areas, I got hit hard with a lot of applicants. So that's how we kind of have gone with that. It's actually harder to hire in the city because of the cost of living. So we've had to kind of adjust the pay, bonus structure, and so forth in that. But for the rural areas, our pay is pretty good compared to a lot of the jobs in that area. So I think that is also enticed.
I think
And we
it's
work a good,
fantastic.
yeah, we work a good schedule with them. Our drivers work 3.5 days. They get their 40 hours because they work 3 12-hour shifts and then a 6-hour shift. And they are teamed with another driver, so the car gets used weekly, but the drivers get that. And that helps because if they have family they need to take care of or other things they want to do, they have 3.5 days off to really utilize their time and do what they like. So we end up getting a lot of retired people. In the springs, I get a lot of retired military that are still young but want to give back to the community and still kind of make some income. And that's kind of what I'm seeing.
I just appreciate the amount of coverage that you guys actually cover as well, because I think that's another thing that, I mean, there's providers out there, but they are limited to certain areas, and this coverage that you cover is just amazing. So I
Yes.
definitely appreciate that for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, it's quite amazing. I was up at a medical event in Loveland a few weeks ago, and people would come up and they'd look and they're like, "Oh, we're on the map." We're never on the map. So that was kind of a joke within us that yes, everybody is on the map. We can handle all of it. And I'm in charge for the entire east side of the state, from the New Mexico border up to Wyoming and out east to Kansas, Nebraska borders.
Thank you so much. Is there any other questions for Laura? All right.
There's one in the chat, Latoya. Yeah.
How does the scheduling work? Does the writer have to call 24 hours in advance?
No, they do not have to call. If it's going to be a long distance one, we would prefer a little bit more time just to make sure that the driver that we assign isn't overworked, or retired. But no, you can call if you need one in the next half hour, you could call and we would get that accommodated. And we have a 24/7 call center in Grand Junction, and then all our satellite offices also have dispatchers. So we have, it's really based on team work for the whole state between the back office and the drivers, because the drivers are the face of the company. So we just expect the best out of them.
Good questions. Ryan Arthur wants to know what's long distance.
It could be from one end of the state to the other. It just depends. We do a lot from the outskirt rural areas, or even from Denver to Grand Junction, Denver to Cortez, to Durango, Denver to Pueblo.
Amazing.
Because a lot of the medical facilities are in the Denver metro area, and you don't get that from the surrounding the rest of the state even. So we do a lot of back and forth between pretty much all 4 corners of the state into Denver and out.
All right. Again, thank you so much, Sunshine Rides.
Thank you for
Laura,
having
thank
me.
you so much. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Arthur.
All right. Thanks again. Really appreciate it. So our next speaker is Lisa, Gannon, transit planner with PPACG, Mobility Coordinating Committee. Lisa.
Hi everyone. My video is glitching out, so I'm just gonna keep my camera off. So I do apologize. You can't see me too well. But hi everyone. So my name is Lisa Gagnon. I am the transit planner at the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments. And if you want to hit the next slide, please. So I'm going to start off with just a background of like what is PPACG. We are the organization of municipal and county governments, and we serve a regional community. There is 16 governing agencies. We discuss issues across political boundaries because a lot of us know that issues just don't stop at a make-believe line on a map. You know, issues like you were talking about, medical appointments across counties. We shared our two opportunities and challenges and just kind of collaborate strategies for our challenges. And we do a whole bunch. We're the Council of Governments, we're the Metropolitan Planning Organization, we're the Area Agency on Aging, and so much more. And most importantly, we are the designated 5310 recipient. So that is the federal funding to enhance transportation for older adults and individuals with disabilities. And I will get more into that in the next couple of slides. Okay. Next slide, please. Thank you. And then this is our service area. So we are Park, Teller, and El Paso County. So south of Denver, but north of Pueblo. These are our 16 governing agencies, so the little stars. And this is generally our service area. And the dotted line is the Metropolitan Planning Organization. So the Colorado Springs urban area. And then we do mobility coordinating. Our mobility coordinating, we don't provide any transportation services. So that is one caveat. We don't have any vans, we don't have any buses, we don't provide any of the transportation services. So what we do is mobility coordinating. So again, we're the designated recipient for 5310. We created a mobility coordinating working group. So getting together different mobility agencies and service providers, advocacy groups at the same table to discuss funding or challenges. And then we attend community events to get resources out there. And then we created a mobility guide. And then I will just get into each of these. Next slide. Thank you. Okay, so the FTA, the Federal Transit Administration, designated recipient for the 5310 funds. Again, these are funds to enhance mobility for older adults and individuals with disabilities. We've been the recipient since 2020, and our current NOFA will be released this week. So we are going to release the notice of funding availability either today or tomorrow, whenever I hit the send button. And this will allow service providers to apply for federal funds to help them provide the service for transportation. So usually we do reimbursements. So we have a cost per unit that is decided beforehand. So every ride that qualifies, they'll get money towards that ride. So we will facilitate those funds. And that is only within the Colorado Springs urbanized area. So again, we've been doing this for the last 5 years, and then we're just about to release our next funding availability. Next slide. Awesome. Thank you. So the Mobility Coordinating Working Group, again, this is a group of our service providers in the area, advocacy groups, and just coming around the table to discuss funding and other things. And recently we've been trying to reamp this group. Before it was committee, and then recently last month, our board voted on to change it from a committee to a working group. And this essentially wanted to expand participation and have it not more on policy, but more on like the nuts and bolts. So going forward, I I asked each member of what is your challenges. So what as a service provider are you facing like on the ground? What are your challenges? And just giving a voice to each provider and just having the meetings kind of centered around that. So the two main challenges have been funding and driver shortages. So the upcoming meetings, I will provide resources and just having more conversations about funding opportunities, how we can work together to apply for certain fundings, and then trying to tackle driver shortages. And then every year we have a driver appreciation, and this happens in December. And this is my favorite meeting. I might be biased because I used to be a bus driver and a service provider driver myself, but if we don't have drivers, we don't have service. So if we don't have drivers, no one gets their doctor's appointments, essentially so many people will be out of jobs and will have worse health outcomes. So the driver appreciation is by far my favorite favorite meeting, and then that's where the drivers will come in. They'll get an award, and there's a whole speech about each driver that each provider will recommend. And so we just want to recognize those drivers during our meetings. And then the next slide. Awesome. And then we create a mobility guide. And this is the guide that will help you get around the Pikes Peak region. So it would be the Park, Teller, and El Paso counties. It has the public transit, senior and medical transportation, rideshare, bike paths, any like rental equipment. We will just have a big brochure, I guess, or a pamphlet of all of the different options. If you go to the next slide, I'll have an example. Awesome. So this is one example of this pamphlet. So we separate it by county and then different types of service. So this one, specialized transportation, has the name of the provider, and it will just go through their contact information, who's eligible for, if it's wheelchair accessible, if you go to the airport, and just any other thing that you really need to know before you contact them for services. So what type of service, their area, if there's a cost, if they will take like Medicaid or private pay, sliding scale, and it's an oversight, or it's a overview of the transportation options within the region. Next slide. And this is just another page of it. So this one's just a little different. So it's a different county, and this is the public bus service. And I wanted to show how it's the same layout, but different options. And I'll just say, this is free, what level of service bus stop. So you try to get an overview to their services before you call them and try to arrange service. And this is available online. And then also we have physical copies that I give out at our mobility coordinating working groups and then at different events. And then if you go to the next slide. Thank you. And then the community events. So these are just different types of events that I, as the transit planner / mobility coordinator, will attend to try to promote mobility within the region. So again, those mobility guides I'll give out and just speak at different events. So most recently, there was a Parkinson's support group. So a lot of caretakers of loved ones who have Parkinson's wanted to know more about transportation options. So I'll speak at those different fairs and expos, libraries, and then we had the Clean Air Week was, I think, the first week of May. So we had a tabling event in different towns in the Pikes Peak region and just promoting different transportation options. Next slide. Awesome. And then the future, this is what I would ideally like, was what I think was being talked about in the chat, is just having more Denver, Colorado Springs connections. It's been mentioned before that a lot of medical appointments are in Denver. So even though Colorado Springs has, really high population, some major medical appointments are in Denver. So more Denver connections. I would like a mobility website. So in addition to the guide, have a website where it will filter out different transportation options for you. So if you have private pay, all those options, where are you trying to go, the different service areas. And then similarly to that, a one call, one click center. This has been been up and coming the last couple of years, just a one phone line, one website where a person can call and just ask for a ride, and then different service providers can fulfill that need. And then in addition to that is just expanding the mobility coordinating group. So just try to get more people at the table, talk about our challenges, and try to just overall just improve mobility within the Pikes Peak region. And then the next slide. Yep, thank you so much for having me. This has been fun. Happy autumn. I like to theme my presentation, so hopefully you guys are in the fall mood now. And if you have any questions, you can ask me now. You can email me, call me, anything that will work for you. Thank you. So any questions?
Not really a question, but just a comment. Some folks in the chat were talking about how there's a lot of overlap between your services and what we do, and I was just mentioning in the chat as well. But we're fortunate enough to partner with you and your organization to get some transportation resources included in our guide, and just kind of really get that collaboration going. So just a special thank you to you for doing that.
Yes, not a problem. Yes, we talked a handful of months ago, and just trying to coordinate resources and just how to, link up Denver and Colorado Springs and just information share, resource share. Yes,
that was a nice opportunity. Any other questions or comments?
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, it
Oh.
looks like that's all. So thank you so much, Lisa. That was an awesome presentation. Really appreciate it. I personally really appreciate the fall theme.
I'm glad to hear that. I like to theme them, and it's fun. Thank you.
Next up, for those who don't know, October is Hispanic Heritage Month. To share some information, insight, and resources, we have Alfredo Bonilla, community navigator with El Grupo Vida. Alfredo?
Hey everyone, my name is Alfredo, and like he said, I work for the Grupo Vida as a community navigator, and we try to help all the community across the state. However, our focal point is Spanish speaking families or people with disabilities. And like I said, I work as a community navigator. So my job is basically to connect people with disabilities to help them find the resources they need as they come to the states, specifically to Colorado State. So we have different resources here in our office. We have the Change Boutique where the families can come and get clothing or any other supplies that they might need that we might have. And we offer also different workshops such as the CPR. And we offer also a security circle where the family can understand the family dynamic when you have a person with disability in your family, because when you have a brother that has a disability, it's so hard for the other brother to understand what's going on. So we offer that kind of course for the families. We also have different resources like connecting with other organizations such as RTD and via mobility services and so many others. One of the main organizations that we work with are Rocky Mountain Human Services and Developmental Pathways. We help with the applications so they can get disability determinations and they can get services or support. And I think what we do for the community nowadays is so important with everything that's going on. And we have been seen lacking of many services, and the family that comes to the state, especially immigrants, are looking to get support and a better life for their loved ones. So I think that what we're doing now here, well, in an organization and many others, I think we're providing a better world for everyone, especially for the community, especially for the community with disabilities. And and I and I think we need to help each other to make this world better. So I I have a disability. I have cerebral palsy, and I'm a current rider with the RTD accessory, and I gotta say it's a great services. It's not perfect, but yeah, this service has allowed me to be more independent when it comes to uh, go to another place, because sometimes when I take a lift, some drivers uh, turn me down because of my disability, or they don't wanna do it right. So that's not fair, in my opinion. And when I got here as an immigrant, I did my own search, and I found that there's a nonprofit organization regarding transportation called Via Mobility Services, and I enrolled myself in the service. And they did a pretty good job. They are a non-profit, and they serve only in the metro area. And I think there are so many resources out there that we don't know, and and they are out there for the community. And I don't know if anyone have any questions or any comments. I will I will be happy to respond.
We love FIA, Alfredo. I agree. They do a good job.
Those guys do an amazing job. Uh, I I really have a, I really had a good time with them when I was riding with them. They even have an app when you can schedule your rides, and you don't even have to call to the customer service. So that's really great. And yeah, so does anyone have any questions for me? No.
How do we get in contact with you?
I could share my contact information and our webpage, uh, so you can see what a lot of the things that we do. Uh, Unfortunately, I didn't prepare like a slideshow, but on the website you can find a lot of information about us, and it's in English and Spanish. So, uh, and like I said, we serve all the state, and our focal point are Spanish speaking families. So I'm gonna share my info in the chat, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Alfredo. So next up, this month we are thrilled to shine a quick 2 to 3 minute spotlight for the incredible work of one of our Dr. Mac members, Mobility for All. Maya, if you wouldn't mind taking it away.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. I know Sarah Lee often attends this meeting. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it today, but she's given me some updates to share. Sorry. We are doing a Mobility Heroes campaign where we celebrate and appreciate drivers that were nominated by community members. And we would love to have your support on social media. I've put our handle for Instagram, Facebook, X in the chat, but there's a lot of great videos where they talk about their favorite snacks, favorite parts of their job, and it's just really heartwarming and cool to celebrate people who are serving our community in this way. And I recommend you guys check it out. We also have an exciting event coming up on November 14th, which is Ruby Bridge's Walk to School Day. And my coworker Felipe has been working very hard on coordinating. But in this event, we're focusing on anti-bullying and social justice themes and trying to engage with a lot of youth and teenagers on these discussions and kind of do a little walk to honor Ruby Bridges and her legacy. We'll be sending out an Eventbrite or a way to sign up, and would love anyone who wants to participate to join. I also just wanted to share some internal updates. We've been updating our brochure with a new design and updated information that we'll be able to share. And we serve Boulder County, so from Longmont down to Lafayette. But if anyone is interested in getting those brochures, please contact us or you know of organizations in Boulder County that we could support, yeah, we'll have kind of updated information. We're also going to be transitioning to using Salesforce and therefore won't be having too many outreach events November through February, to kind of give us time to make that transition. And I know the winter tends to be a little slower with events. And lastly, or two more things, we have 5 EcoPass contracts that we're managing with our Boulder County Housing Authority. In Netherlands, we have a residential and an employee EcoPass. We have our own EcoPass program for our Boulder County employees, and we've been really working to do more collaboration with mobile home communities, and we were able to launch a EcoPass program for a mobile home community in Lafayette just this year, which is exciting. The other exciting news is we're in the process of having an Access-a-Ride certification center in Lafayette. I know currently there's only one in Denver, and that can be very difficult for people to have to travel long distances to Denver. So we're excited about having this test location that's a little closer for people and maybe easier for some people to get there. We'll have more details on that. And then lastly, we have our monthly MAC meetings like Lisa and mentioned, and Dr. Mac, these really cool collaborative spaces for mobility managers and people who work in transportation to share and collaborate on problems. So if you're interested, I'll put our email in the chat and we would love to have you join. I know Stephanie's a loyal participant, which is awesome. But yeah, thank you for having me. And I know that was a little fast, so let me know if there's any questions or clarifying I can do.
Maya, is that MTM that's going to provide the assistance with the application up your way? Or because I know they do it in Denver. Is it the same organization?
No, we're looking to have RTD like have certifications done in Lafayette at our
Okay,
Southeast hub, so people won't have to go all the way to Denver, but that will
right.
just be like once or twice a week. I'm not clear on the exact details, but it'll be kind of testing out this possibility of maybe having Access-a-Ride certifications be a little more accessible or in other locations than just the current one location in Denver.
Yeah, that's helpful. Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, Maya, thank you so much for your insightful presentation. It's always great to hear what's going on in Boulder. And next, I will pass it to Colleen.
Thanks, Arthur. So Dr. Mack is working hard to kind of understand the transportation and mobility barriers in your communities. And your input is gonna go a long way towards helping us shape our future programming and advocacy efforts. So I would like for everyone to please maybe take a few minutes to complete our short survey, share it within your networks, and you'll be entered to win a $25 gift card. So I'm going to put it in the link to the, oh, thank you. She's so good. Thanks, Steph. She beat me. And thank you for helping us to make a difference. And I'm going to pass it on to Steph. Thank you, Steph, for putting that in the chat.
Yeah, no problem. All right. So I'm sure you are all tired of hearing me talk about travel training and tech trainings and everything, but I'm gonna keep talking about them. So we have some trainings coming up that we're doing this month. Maria is doing one on Thursday. I have a tech training I'm doing on Monday. So we're pretty busy over here, but just kind of reminding everyone that we do have our free travel training sessions available to anyone who's interested. We've trained kind of anyone and everyone. So we do we make a real effort to make sure that they're customized and applicable to the community that we're training. So if you are interested in learning how to use RTD or Uber or Bird, or just learn more about DRMAC and some available transportation resources in your area, please reach out to us. I'll put my email in the chat, and we can talk about scheduling them. We also still have our virtual travel trainings online. So if you're interested in like an individual training, or do you just want to do it from the comfort of your own space, we can do that as well. So yeah, please sign up for a travel training. And then like I was mentioning, we have some technology trainings coming up. Maria is actually hosting monthly tech trainings at libraries across the metro area. The next one we're hosting will be next Tuesday, October 14th from 11:30 to 12:30 at Smoky Hill Library Meeting Room. That's in Arapahoe County. We are going to be posting the registration to sign up for that on our website shortly after our meeting today. So if you're interested, please sign up. If you can't make this month, maybe next month. And then we are still offering tech trainings for groups. So if your organization is interested in getting something set up for us, please let us know. The trainings are really meant for folks who maybe they have a smartphone and they just don't know how to use it. We walk through some privacy settings, security settings, how to download apps, delete apps, how to use a QR code, things like that. So it's very high level trainings that we have there. So if you are interested, like I said, I'll put my email in the chat, but please feel free to reach out, and I hope to train some of you. And I'm going to pass it back to Arthur.
Thank you so much. So, in addition to our member spotlights, we always want to give a big shout out to all of our amazing DRMAC members. We've started our 2026 membership campaign. So if you are interested in joining these wonderful people who help make everything we do here possible, please absolutely reach out to me. You can see the benefits of our membership on our website. And if you have any questions or interested, please email me. I can put my email in the chat. But thank you so much, and I will pass it on to Colleen.
Thank you, Arthur. So with the remaining time we have left, we'd like to open the floor for community updates. Jamie, I know you have something that we're all anxious to hear about, but if you have an upcoming event, exciting news, something you'd like to share or promote, please feel free to unmute, raise your hand, or type it in the chat. Jamie, do you want to kick us off? Because we're all anxious to hear more about the Access on Demand update.
Sure. Before I go into the Access on Demand, I had two announcements also. RTD announced that there's a new shuttle that'll be running between Golden and Morrison starting the summer of 2026. It'll be seasonal. It'll be just for the summer, but it's a free service, so people would be able to visit Red Rocks. Unfortunately, it'll take you to Red Rocks, but it wouldn't be able to take you home. They're not going to be running in the evening, but I just thought that was, a nice thing to get people out from Golden down that corridor along the edge of the mountains to Morrison. The other thing is I had two scooter contractors reach out to me this week. If you're not aware that they have to renew the contract, I think by the beginning of the year. It was exciting to talk to these two vendors because they're going to be presenting scooters that are a little more friendly for elderly and disabled community. One will have a seat on it on the scooter, so you could sit on it rather than standing. And the other one is a three-wheeler. There should be like 5% of their inventory. So I'm excited to see some of our people out there riding on those three-wheelers. So, yeah. So getting to the Access on Demand, on the 30th of September, the Board of Directors did set some rates for the Access on Demand program, which you know is very popular. The fare will be $4.50. They also approved a $2.25 live program. So if you're low income and you would like to use that service, you could use it for $2.25. The subsidy was lowered from 25 to 20. Statistics indicated that people were using on average about $17.50 a ride. So it won't impact, it'll only impact maybe a small minority of people that use over $20 for the trip. The access area was opened up to the full entire district. If you're not familiar, RTD covers 7 counties and 42 cities and 2,400 square miles. So basically the whole Front Range, you'd be able to get an AOD. The time is also a 24-hour, except for the hours of 1:30 a.m. to 3:30 a.m. The reason being is that it gives chance for RTD to maintain and inspect their WAVE vehicles, the wheelchair accessible vehicles. They need time to work on those, so there'll be a 2-hour dead time between 1:30 and 3:30. Hopefully we don't have too many of our people out there in those hours. And the last one is they reinstated the multi-ride option, which, oh, that's all I heard for the last 2 years. We want the multi-ride option. So if you're not familiar, when you get on the ride, you can use it for a short stop, like to drop your child off at school as you are going to work, or drop something off at a mailbox, or something that's very short. So you can have basically 2 destinations within one trip. What was happening is that people would stop to drop their child off, and then the trip would reset and start all over again. And that was costing people a lot of money and angst. So we're really glad that the multi-ride option was reinstated. And the board members and I and the rest of the disability community agreed that there's still much more work to be done. This is only the beginning. They kind of had to draw a line in the sand and get started by collecting some kind of revenue for sustainability. Obviously, the worst thing you can do is provide a system or a program to our community and then pull it back because you don't have the money. So I think this was a compromise, but we still have a lot of work to do. So that's my spiel.
Thank you, Jim. And I can always count on you to give me the more of the details when it comes to that stuff. We appreciate you. I am so glad that they did could keep or initiate the multi-stop. I think I was in a meeting with you and RTD, and that just kept coming up. And I was thinking, are you hearing these folks? Like everyone is saying this. So I'm so happy they didn't get rid of that. Thank you so much. It looks like we have 2 in the chat. Melanie says Centennial is hosting a Sipping Centennial Saturday, October 25th at Centennial Center Park. And Melanie will definitely share that out. And then Steph says Dr. Cog has 3 grant opportunities now open until November 15th. Yes, I'm excited about that. Thank you for sharing that, Steph. Are there any more updates? Any other updates? Steph, I'm assuming that's on the Dr. Cog's website already. Did you want us to share that out, or is it, or no?
Yeah, that would be great. The link that I shared in here takes you to a PDF with a lot more information. There's 3 different set-aside programs open, and on that link I shared, there's a application form linked in there as well. And it's a pretty light lift. But if you have any questions, you can shoot me an email and I'll make sure to put my email in the chat.
You. Anyone else? Okay. Dr. Mac team, am I forgetting anything that we might want to announce?
I don't think so. A lot of good information today.
Yeah, it is. Okay, well, I'm sure to close this. You guys are so good. We're going to give you back time then. So, since if there are normally just one last call, then we'll give you back the rest of your day. Okay, well, thank you so much for attending and learning with us today. I want to say thank you again to our presenters. And that brings us to the end of our meeting. We look forward to seeing you at next month's meeting scheduled for November 11th, 1:30 to 3 p.m. via Zoom. The registration links for all of our meetings can be found on our website, www.drmac-co.org. Thanks again, and we'll see you all next month. Bye, everyone.